This is the HD link cable for Dreamcast, as this says. I've not seen a video on these online yet, so let's go ahead and open it up and do an unboxing. Now this is by the company Pound Technologies, I think. Kind of an odd name for a company that makes electronic stuff. But I guess it's by the same guys that made the original Xbox HDMI cable about a year ago, I believe. I saw this, somebody posted about this thing coming out a few days ago on Instagram, I think it was. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, that's cool. I got it for 25 bucks. You can't beat that price. If you open it up with a soldering iron, make sure it's off. Unless you're at work and you like getting involved with L&I. I haven't opened this up, so I have no idea what the packaging is going to look like. There is the thank you, and leave it. Yeah, maybe they sell exclusively on Amazon. Or they sold it on Amazon, so they put that in there. And no instructions. Just the cable itself. Now, I highly doubt, oh cool, I can puncture it, or I can open it like this. It pays to pay attention. No instructions, like I said. Just the main unit. And this thing apparently does not need any outside power. It gets all the power it needs from the Dreamcast itself. Passes through to HDMI. Kind of a lightweight thing. Well, that was pretty anticlimactic unboxing. Let's see how this thing performs. Now, if you take a close look at the connections, this is the original Dreamcast one. If I can get it to focus, you've only got a few pins there. You've got one right here, and you've got 1, 2, 3 right there, so you've got 4. Now this is for just an AV cable. It's got right, left, and video. No S-video on this one. S-video might have a little bit more of the pins, and the VGA, I imagine, would probably have most of them, except for maybe the audio out. Now this HDMI one has quite a few, if you can see there, compared. That's the first thing I noticed when looking at these two. They feel pretty much the same. This actually feels, the HDMI one feels pretty solid. I know cables over the years, various ones tend and twist, and you wrap them up all stupid and they fray. This will probably do the same if you aren't careful with it, but they are not quite as flimsy as the original cable. So what we can do here, if my TV decides to turn on, here we have it. Let's pop something simple in. Go for the web browser, and let's use standard AV. Dreamcast. Power that up. I'm going to turn this down. I don't much care for copyright strikes. There you have it. That's your standard 480, I think. Through AV. Now, if you bear with me, I'm going to pop in this rad HDMI chingadera. That's a pretty snug fit. I didn't really have to force it too much, but it was a lot more than just the regular AV. It didn't just click right in. I had to put a little bit of force behind it, which is fine. It's funny, out of all my stuff that I've got connected down here, the only thing that I got HDMI in currently is the Super Nintendo Classic. Everything else is just going through AV or S-video. Hopefully I don't knock my TV over. There we go. HDMI. That's quite the stretch. Okay. That's a little more crisp. You can tell. I don't know if you'd really call those pixels. I mean, it's an LCD, so they're all obviously pixels, but each individual square, you can't tell the tiny pixels, it's a little blown up, but it is a little clear. I'm going to go grab a controller. we can try some games in here. Okay, what I'm gonna do is use Marvel vs. Capcom 2 right now, and we'll go with the original AV. Now, granted, this is not on a CRT, it's LCD, so most people have those these days. But if you're hardcore, you go old school, you plug it into AV. I just feel like the Dreamcast should be on more of a crisp screen. I don't know if I'm alone in that, but like the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, even the PlayStation depends on the game, but I've always liked older systems on like a CRT. They feel better. They feel right. The Dreamcast I always felt should be on something a little more crisp, and now we have that option with this thing. Now there's a couple more options as far as getting a signal to HDMI from the Dreamcast. There's one you can use the VGA and route that to HDMI converter, or there's mods you can do to the Dreamcast itself. There's a couple cables that run out. It's not SCART, it's something, I forget what it's called, but it runs out, runs through this little box, and then goes to HDMI. It's a converter of some sort developed for the Dreamcast. Alright, so we got Capcom Presents. Yeah, this is much more of a viable option. Yeah, this is pretty normal, and again, it's on an LCD screen. Or, well, I hope it's not LED. I've been saying LCD the whole time. That's one or the other. There we go. Looks about standard. This is how I remember it. Arcade, and I don't have a memory card in, so we're not going to have anything saved on this thing. Yeah, it looks pretty standard, and it's a little blurry. Now, if you were on a CRT, that would look normal. Let's try this with HDMI. And when I saw this thing, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I looked it up, and actually didn't see anybody that had bought this thing yet. There's no YouTube videos on it, so I don't know if this one's the first one. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of videos about HDMI with Dreamcast, but none with this cable from the Pound guys. Like I said, it's powered. So, well, obviously, because it's working. Source. Let's go to HDMI. The great thing about this cable, as far as I understand it, is that it's just going straight through HDMI. Of course, it's converting it, obviously, in this little box. But you don't have to go through any other sort of box to upscale it or convert. That's really sharp. Or to convert it from VGA to HDMI. So there's no sort of lag. There's minimal lag with this thing. I'm going to try to get the aspect ratio proper. Maybe. I really don't think this controller is for this TV, so a lot of the buttons don't actually work. Tool. Info. Yeah, see, I can't. If you notice, there's a little bit of a black bar right here, and not on the other side. And I don't know if that's part to this or if it's TV itself, but damn is this clear. It's almost a little too crisp. This is going to be nice playing some Crazy Taxi on this. I always loved Crazy Taxi. It's one of those games where I played quite a bit when I was younger, and it was fantastic, and I got older, hadn't played it for a couple years, popped it back in, and I suck. Usually it's the opposite. Go to a game and think it's really hard, and it's like, this is super easy. Yeah, this is pretty clear. You can actually make everything out. Let's play for a sec and see if there's any ghosting or anything. I highly doubt there would be, because this isn't CRT, so it wouldn't be drawing too fast for it to refresh properly. And I don't know if this is interlaced or if it's progressive. HD ready, compatible with all modern televisions. It is. Okay. It is 480. Maybe it just does stretch it. I don't know if the games that are VGA compatible, if they scale differently. We'll try a couple other games. Yeah, I don't see any sort of weird artifacting or lines. Everything seems to be pretty clear. The characters are very clear. It's very crisp. I don't have any sense of delay. Let's see if we can get this on screen. As you can tell, I'm not the best at this. This is a fantastic game, and if you're gonna, somebody who's getting into this the first time, like my kids, they love some of the old stuff. One of them wanted, not this birthday, but the birthday before, so about a year and a half ago, he wanted a Nintendo 64 for his birthday. So with his he didn't get one for his birthday, but with his birthday money, he actually went and bought one, which that was pretty cool, watching him pick out games, and got some controllers. Now he loves playing it. But for people that don't have a CRT or just have a whole bunch of HDMI ports, just want stuff looking as best as it could, the HDMI, this, especially for $25, I think it was, and I think it's Prime eligible, so you don't really pay for shipping on it. And one thing I did notice, I saw it on a Friday. I ordered it Saturday, and it shipped Sunday, which was weird, and then got there by Monday morning. So that was odd. I've never seen that happen. It must have been just sitting in the warehouse. I'm not going to do any side-by-side comparisons anymore. I will just pop some games in and we can look at them. I'm actually interested to see what the Utopia games, just look like with HDMI. I'll do a Christmas version. That would be odd if some of the games or some of the discs just simply didn't like booting up this way. Oh no, it's the games doesn't support the AV cable. There is a trick to this though. I will show you this. I had to do this a lot when I was using my. I had a VGA adapter long time ago, and this is what I would have to do to switch it. It just had a switch, so I didn't have to unplug like this. Now, if you do this, you want to be careful moving your Dreamcast around. You don't want to bump it and have it scratch your discs or ruin the laser, which would be even worse because then it doesn't read any of the games. So you turn it on. You wait till it boots up. I'm not switching to AV right now. That doesn't really matter. But I'll show you what I'm doing. If you can see that in the camera. AV is still in. The game, or boot disk in this case, is booted. Just pull that up. Stick the HDMI or the VGA in the case of when I did this years ago, and it would pop right on. Now I'm not sure if that's going to be the case with the HDMI. Getting a signal. It's a blank one though. It is an unhealthy signal it's getting. So no, it actually doesn't like that one. Let's try a few others. This is the first time I've tried this, as you saw when I unboxed it. Maybe the 1.2 will work. What else do I have in here? Now this right here, this is the game. That is the game right there. I love that game. Huh. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's working with the Utopia boot discs, which is no big deal. A lot of the discs or copies of anything can be made to self-boot, so that's not too much of an issue. There are some games though that do not like, don't like the VGA mode, so they will not run with VGA, but like I said, you can switch them back and forth, and Maybe that didn't work because it's the utopia of the boot discs themselves. But I always got it to work with any game that didn't like the VGA mode. I'd pop it in the regular, just 480 mode for TV, and then I'd just flip the switch, and that was on the VGA converter for the Dreamcast. I think Innovation made one. That was the orange one I had. Yeah, this works. This is the VMU backup disc. Okay, that seems to work. That's a, we're gonna say fourth party one. That's a homebrew. Let's try the Game Shark. I don't know if people would still use a Game Shark for the Dreamcast. It was fun back in the day, but to use now, that's kind of the challenge of going back and playing these old games is you want to play the game, you don't want to cheat your way through it and win in 15 minutes, because what's the point of going back and playing them anyway, if you're going to do that. But it'd be interesting to see if Game Shark boots up. Yeah. Not licensed or endorsed in any way by Sega. That is true. So it does work. VMU not found. I like it. Notifications by Echelon. That's great. Let's try a few other games. Well, I've been talking Crazy Taxi up. Let's see if this guy works. I've got some weird stuff I did back in the day, like that Neo Geo Pocket Color. The emulator's not that great, but it does run, which is fairly impressive. And I burned that in like 2001 or something, so it's great that they had that going back then. There we go. Let's see how it works. That is, as you can tell, that is really crisp. Let's do arcade. Let's just get into the game. Sure, we'll go with him. But I don't want to exit. This looks really good. This is pretty responsive. Like I said, there's really no lag. And it's games like this that look like they look pretty great. So games like this would be the reason to get one of these devices. Or I guess if you didn't have any way. I'm not really concentrating on playing, I'm just talking about it. If you just have a bunch of HDMI ports or you're not going the SCART route, then I really do recommend this. Like I said, for about 25 bucks on Amazon, this thing is well worth it already, I think. It'd be great to go back and play a number of games in HDMI. And hopefully not doing as bad as I am now. Sometimes I don't want to stop and pick up a customer. Bam! Yeah, that's great. It seems to work just fine. So, I was going to say, if you see one of these out in the wild, go grab it, but I don't think you're going to find one anytime soon. So, they're on Amazon, and I'll put up a link to them in the description. And, yeah, the product seems to work fairly well. I don't see any hiccups with it, aside from not wanting to boot some boot discs, but really, who's worried about that? So I hope you enjoyed the review and getting a first look at this thing. I think this is going to be the first one on YouTube, so share it, I guess. Share the video if you want. If you don't like it, then thumbs down. Alright, cool. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to see more of my ramblings, and press thumbs down if I suck.
Thank you, please.
I hate this notification.